A woman was in a lot of pain when she was trying to cross the street, but at that moment she ends up falling in front of a car. The passengers then ask the driver to continue with the trip, but he says he could not continue with the woman there. They then say that they would end up missing their job interview, but the driver says that they were doctors and that they should help the woman. One of them says she didn't care about that woman and says she needed to get to her interview. The driver then says that he was very disappointed in them and then gets out of the car. While he was going to help the woman, one of the women ends up taking the driver's car and driving away with him. When they leave with the car, the driver tells the lady that they wouldn't be able to find anyone because they just lost 2 candidates. The lady said that there was still one more candidate missing and that she would soon get there. At this point, a woman appears and then the driver tells the lady that this was their last chance. She then proceeds to say that she was in a lot of pain and then the woman asks what was going on. The man then says that the lady was close to having her child and that they needed help to get to the hospital. The woman then tells them that they should go to the hospital and that they should get a car to do so, but the man said that unfortunately they didn't have the money to pay for the drive to the hospital. The woman then says that she only had a little money to go to her interview, but that she didn't care about it and that they should use the money to go to the hospital. The man then says that unfortunately, he couldn't go to the hospital with them as he had to go to his house to take care of his brother. He then asks if the woman could go with her mother to the hospital and she says yes. When they leave, the man says that he hoped to one day be able to repay what the woman had done for him and that he would, in fact, do it soon. Later, they come to the interview and then tell an employee that they were there for a job interview. The clerk says that she was expecting 3 candidates and that she was missing one. One of the women says that the other candidate wasn't there and that they should start soon. The employee then says that in that case, they could start the interview and one of the women says that she was glad she arrived at the appointed time. The employee says they were lucky, because there was only 1 vacancy for that interview. One of the women then says that the other candidate hadn't arrived yet and that she was happy to be able to participate in that interview. The clerk says that she needed to make a phone call first, but at that point the woman arrives with the lady saying that they needed help. She then takes the lady to the employee, who says she would take her to the operating room. The woman then asked why they left her behind and one of the women said that she wouldn't wait for the woman to arrive on time as she was always late. The woman says that this was a lie, because they had arranged to go to that interview together, but that they ended up going alone. I know that she had to walk to the interview. The other woman says that she didn't care about that, because the woman should have been on time for the interview and that she wasn't the woman's mother to have to take care of her. The other woman still doesn't say that she could leave, as there were no more vacancies for the woman and that they had already filled the existing vacancies. The woman then asked why they were doing this to her, as they knew that she badly needed that job to take care of her grandmother and that she had helped the women finish their college. She asks why they were doing this to her and asks what their problem was. She said that she was only there because she had told her friends that this place was hiring. The other woman then says that the woman should arrive earlier next time and that she didn't care what was going to happen to the woman. The woman then asks why they were doing this to her, because they knew she needed that job so badly. At that point, the employee comes back and says that she needed their help to take care of the patient, as she was not making it on her own. One of the women then says that she had not been hired by that hospital and that she was not going to help before she was hired. She asks what the other woman was going to do and she says she wouldn't work at that hospital until she was hired. The woman then tells the employee that she would help take care of the lady. The employee then asks if she would really help her take care of that lady and she says yes. She then asks the woman to accompany her to the living room. Inside the room, the employee asks the woman if she could do that and she says yes. She tells the clerk not to worry about it and then the clerk walks away saying that if she needed anything, she could call her. The woman then asks the lady what her name was and she tells the woman. She then says that she would take care of the lady, but that she needed the lady to calm down. The lady says that she could not calm down at that moment, as she was not yet in the correct time to have her child. She says that the doctor had told her that she would have to wait a while and that she couldn't stop worrying about it. The woman then tells the lady that she needn't worry, because if the lady had a premature baby, the hospital would take very good care of it. The lady says that she was very worried about it because she didn't have a husband to be able to help her with the child and that she was very worried about everything going wrong in her life. The woman says that she didn't have to worry about that, as she was sure that the lady's child would be a very healthy child. She then tells the lady that she needed to calm down and that she knew what she was doing. At this point, she tells the lady that she had already managed to get her blood drawn, and the lady seems to be surprised. The woman tells her that she had learned that technique so that she could draw the blood from the patients, without them worrying about it. The lady says that she was very grateful for the woman's help and asks why she helped her, since she heard that the woman did not work at that hospital. The woman says that even though she didn't work at that hospital, she couldn't let the lady continue to suffer like that. The lady then asks her if she worked at another hospital, and she says no, and that, in fact, she didn't have a job. She then tells the woman that she was indeed an excellent nurse, but the woman says that she really wanted to be a doctor. She said she was unfortunately unable to pay for her studies. The lady then asks if she was looking for a job, and the woman says yes. She says that her grandmother was in dire need of some medicines, which were very expensive. She then tells the lady that she would leave her alone, but the lady says that she needs to talk to her. She said that, as the woman can see, she was not in a very pleasant situation at that time, as she even needed to borrow money to be able to get to the hospital. She then says that if it were possible, she would want to help the woman, but the woman said she didn't need to worry about that. The lady then asks the reason for this, since the woman was in need of help to buy her grandmother's medicines. She then says that she didn't care about that and that she had decided that she would never let a person suffer. She then tells the lady that she will let her rest, but the lady says that she needs to say something to the woman before she leaves. She then asks the woman why she helped her at that moment. The woman says that she saw how much the lady was in need of help and that she decided to help. She said that she could not let the lady suffer anymore. The lady then says that she didn't understand why the woman did that, and then the woman says that she helped the lady because she wanted to be a good person. She said that, despite this, she badly needed that job and that now her friends had the job she wanted. She says that after everything she's been through, she no longer had a job to try to get and that she didn't know what else he could do. The lady says that she knew that the woman would soon get a job, as she was an excellent professional. She then says that she was very grateful for the words the lady was saying to her, but that now the lady really needed to rest, and so she leaves. As she was leaving, the employee asks how the treatment had been, and the woman says it was a success. The employee says that she was very surprised by this, because the lady was very agitated, and then she asks how the woman managed to do that. The woman says that she had learned that technique in college and that she was able to reassure the lady. The employee said she would very much like the woman to work there, but the woman said that would not happen, and then says that she needs to leave. She said she was very grateful for the employee's words and then says she was leaving, but at this point the man arrives and asks what had happened to her mother. The woman says that the lady was fine and that she was being treated very well in that hospital. She then said that she needed to leave as she ended up arriving late for the interview and that now she needed to look for another interview. She said she needed to look for another job, but the man asked her to wait a while because he needed to tell her something. He said he actually needed to say something to all of them, and one of the women asks what a person like him could have to say to them. He then tells the woman that she, from that day on, was hired to work at that hospital. The other woman says that the man had gone mad and that he thought he owned the hospital. He said he hadn't gone crazy and that the woman was hired, but she said she hadn't done the interview. He then says that it wasn't necessary as she had already passed his test. At this moment, the lady appears in the room and leaves everyone surprised. One of the women then asks what was going on there, and then the man reveals that, in fact, the lady was never pregnant. He says that everything that had happened there was a test, that he had prepared to determine who was the best person to be hired, and that he came to the conclusion that it was the woman. He then says he'd like them to leave his hospital, and then the other woman says she couldn't believe it was happening. The lady says that it was real and that she and the man had prepared that test to try to find out who was the best candidate among them. She says that at first she thought it wouldn't work out, but that it ended up working out in the end. She says that they eventually decided that the best candidate was the woman and then says that she would want the car they had stolen back. The other woman said that was absurd and that she wouldn't stay there to discuss it and then leaves. As they leave, the woman says she didn't understand what was going on there. The man then reveals that, in fact, he was a doctor who worked at that hospital and that the lady was also a doctor who worked at that hospital. He says he was tired of working with doctors who mistreated patients and that he decided to do a test to see who people really were before hiring them to work at that hospital. He says the test revealed that the woman was a very honest person and the lady says that this was what they were looking for. The man says that he hoped that the woman would be very happy in that position and that she could always remain the excellent person she was.